you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the TNT Shock Series are going to take to Pocono Raceway. This one's going to be interesting, Bizzle. The more we look at this race, the more I'm thinking we are either going to see one of the best races of all time or absolute carnage and insanity.
Yeah, this one is going to be insane. This track is, how do I put this? Much too large for these cars. Pocono is not a flat-out track in anything, but it's Talladega in these things. It's going to be a show, and that's for sure. I saw cars going 7, 8 wide going into turn 1, so it's going to be scary.
Yeah, The more I'm looking at this, and well, qualifying's underway. Let's take a look here at Pickup West Shire and see what he is doing here in qualifications. And on screen number 2, let's find Mr. Brian Labarge. And we're working new-ish systems here tonight, but there you go. Look at that. It looks the same to you guys, but it is completely different for what we're doing over here.
Yeah, I've got a new toy to play with.
Yes, you do. If you would like to demonstrate, feel free, because qualifying at Pocono is going to be one of the duller things that we'll do. There's Brian Labarge down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Bizzle now has something to draw and play with on the screen. The testing had gone about as you people might have expected Bizzle to do. Lap number 1.
I've been drawing the symbol of one of my favorite bands of all time. Their name is Tool. You might have heard of them. And I've been drawing their band's logo all over the screen for the past 6 hours.
Yes, he has. So we're hearing these cars just absolutely wound up here. And actually, let's quickly pull this back so we can take a look at the weather conditions for tonight. 90-degree air temperature, 106-degree track temperature. But notice the wind speeds, 25 miles per hour out of the southeast. This is basically, if I remember correctly, the stiffest possible headwind down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that is definitely one hell of a headwind down the front straightaway, and that is going to make the draft absolutely huge going down there. But the biggest thing is they're going to have a tailwind going into turn 2. Now, these cars might not be going fast enough to make the tunnel turn that difficult, but definitely if these cars are 3-4 wide, it's going to be a little sketchy going into there.
Mike Long, quick lap time. No quick time. He's over the line for lap number 2. It will not improve, but almost 160 miles an hour. Let's pick up Jason Owens. He's crossing the line for lap number 2. Actually, I'm sorry, lap number 1 for Jason Owens. He's just getting out onto his qualification run. Kylo Ciacelli going to be third quick after his lap of 56.614. It looks like Kylo is done for his run. Let's pick up Jason Miller, who is also out on the racetrack. Only about 30 seconds left in qualifying. Miller hits pit lane. Owens over the line for lap number 1, and it will be 56.808 seconds. Only good enough for 8th quick. Those all new Extra Life Riley Children's Foundation colors. Nice work there by Dakota DeMeg doing the paint scheme on that one. And qualification time is up. Jason Owens will not improve from the 8th position. That is a surprise. A big, big surprise. Let's take a look here. It will be... Get you everything up here. There you go. Mike Long picking up his first career TNT Shock Series pole. And I think we're getting everybody out onto the grid here. So let's pull up the good camera and take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. 11 thousandths of a second separating the front row. Mike Long lining up alongside Mr. Jason Miller. As always, love the look of the PPG colors on this car for Jason Miller. This is one of those IndyCar schemes that just fits.
I wish the IndyCar series was still led by a PPG painted Toyota Supra. That was always the coolest car. When I watch some of the old broadcasts and see that thing pull out in front of the field, that's the best looking car in the field, and there's champ cars behind it.
Yeah, really. Row number 2 going to be Kylo Ciacelli and Wes Shire. Still don't have a 1/10 of a second there. Ciacelli in the DeChaco Farms Limo Boys Racing Team Watson setups on the side of the number 93. Homestead Coffee, Tales from Rukon on the side of the number 16 for Wes Shire. Road number 3 will have Nieje Camargo piloting for Team Watson Racing setups, lining up alongside the Grand Poobah of TWRS, James Watson. Row number 4, going to have Simon Fell, the TNT Shock Series livery, lining up alongside Jason Owens in the Riley Children's Foundation Extra Life number 87. Row number 5 will have Jason Paydu in the Napa Auto Parts entry, lining up alongside Brian Labarge in the NASA Moonship. Hopefully that car is not actually going to the moon here tonight.
Row number... a distinct possibility.
Yes, distinct possibility. Row number 6, the 7-Up entry of Mike Barry in car number 64, lining up alongside the number 17 Spratty entry of Alex Teeter. Row number 7, a couple of unsponsored race cars. Reach out to us here if you want to pick up some, get your logos on the side of these race cars. Dave Sparks in the 00, Joe Varvel, like Carvel, but Varvel. In the 86, I've only been butchering his name for a couple of seasons. Row number 8, oh my goodness, Carter Lundy and Ben Carswell. And Carswell not actually on the starting grid here tonight, so we'll see if Ben, he may be electing for the pit lane start because, well, it's not the worst idea ever. Row number 9, going to have Stephen C. Thompson and Zach Nurenberger. And on row number 10, all alone, will be the number 199 of Vic Aldridge.
Carter Lundy electing not to set a time here in qualifying. I don't know if that's due to time constraints or maybe a strategy, but that's unusual. Usually he tries to get up there towards the pole and stay up there. So
yeah,
kind of excited to see what he's going to do with it.
He's usually the guy that just absolutely houses the field in everything. So the field just now making their way off of turn number 2. Those houses you see in the background there used to be the family residence of Dr. Joe and Rose Mattioli, the founders of Pocono Raceway. Now that's where all the racetrack offices are located out of. However, this is the 2007 version. It's the old version of Pocono. We're going to shut up here and let you enjoy this one, because I have a feeling this is going to be crazy. Enjoy it, everybody. off of turn number 3 for the first time, and it will be Kylo Ciacelli leading lap number 1.
Really aggressive off the start, but you can see here, excuse me, going for another move down the front straightaway. It seems like JW Miller getting that move done. Seems like you're going to be able to get a pass for the lead done every time we come around this front straightaway. And even the Long Pond straight, I think, is long enough to get something done here.
I think you're going to see it the entire way around this place. That's the crazy thing, is I don't know that there's a spot on this racetrack that you can't pass somebody. Even 3 wide all the way around. This could be NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega circa 1997, where they just go 45 minutes, absolutely flat out 3 wide like your hair's on fire the whole way around the place. Oh, well, maybe not. We got a couple of cars making contact down to the inside. It's Jason Owens involved in that one. Jason Owens, Alex Teeter, those cars appear to be locked together down on the inside of the racetrack.
How this is not a caution, I don't know.
Yeah, good question. Let's pick up the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See if we can see what happened to these guys. There's Owens on the outside. Oh, Teeter maybe slides up. Owens comes down just a little. And yeah, those cars are attached.
That right there, that's how USF 2000s are made.
Can confirm. And I'll tell you what, both of those guys on pit road now, their hopes of a race win here are over. Other than the fact that it takes so incredibly long to get around this place, that you're not going to lose. If you have 60 seconds of repair, you're only going to go a lap down.
Yeah, and if the caution were to come out right now, at worst they're losing a lap. And this series, I do believe, has lucky dogs, correct or no?
It does not. No lucky dogs, no free passes. The only thing you get is the wave around. Man, Mike Barry looking aggressive there up on the outside of the racetrack. He's trying to get that outside lane working as Wes Shire moves to the race lead. Zach Nurnberger to second. Kylo Ciacelli coming around James Watson. Oh, God, they're 4 wide to turn 1. I can't even look away to check timing and scoring because it's just absolutely terrifying that you're going to miss something.
Not only that, the timing and scoring board is moving so quickly with how many cars are so wide and how many rows they go back. You can go from 6th to 1st, back to 6th, and back to 7th in about a fraction of a second.
Go on board here with James Watson, currently running in the 7th position.
See James, he's going to be looking to shoot right up this gap right here. Maybe not. He might be looking to shoot up the inside. Get it back out of it. Probably a wise move this early in the race. Let some cars go by him and at least keep all the wings on the car until the end.
Oh, man, that was a big business.
Massive. Oh, yeah.
When you can see the
Another
driver's
one.
hands from this view, you know they're moving the car a bunch.
Yeah, James Watson is
Go ahead.
definitely taking no prisoners today. He is driving very aggressively. Usually you don't see him make those blocks, and especially not this early in the race. He might go for it with a minute or two to go, but this early in the race, it's very rare to see him this aggressive. You see the bump draft going on at the front of the field.
Yeah, the bump draft is there, but it's not necessarily working. Wes Shire, almost like he grabbed some gravity off of turn number 3. which is weird because it's flat, but...
The bump drafts seem to have worked right there. Nürnberger getting pushed way in front of Wes.
And where did Carter Lundy come from? He's up to second now, almost ahead as they get to the tunnel turn.
Carter Lundy, very little experience in these pack races, so he doesn't know what he needs to fear yet. He just keeps his foot planted and go, these guys are slowing down, I'm just going to go around the outside and send it. He doesn't know why that's wrong, or I guess it's not really that wrong if it got him up there, but usually most guys are too scared to do that.
Oh, man, what a move by Ciacelli to the outside of Nürnberger. He's going to get the pass completed before the start-finish line. Oh, they're 4 now, almost 5 wide, heading to 1. These guys know there's 43 minutes left to go in this thing. God, they're 4 wide all the way through turn 1. Nürnberger, a little squirrely up the middle.
I think they're just a little too excited for the Fastmaster session that was going to be coming up.
I don't know, man, but this is absolutely terrifying to watch these guys.
Because in Fastmasters, the only thing that matters is laps led.
Let's take a look here. Our buddy 90210 checking in like 1,000 angry bees. That's exactly what it sounds like. Odds on anyone actually finishing. I think they finish. I really do. I think these guys could run for 50 straight minutes green like this.
You're optimistic. I will say that. But I don't believe so. I definitely think there's going to be a massive caution.
I would not be surprised at a massive caution. However, we've seen before that races we went, these guys are going to wad these things up huge. They just don't. We have seen races at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway go 50 minutes green all the way to the end. God, we're 4 wide before the start-finish line this time. I think where the incident happens, if it does, is a bump draft gone bad. But it's not like these are a stock car that you're going to just wad up a ton of race cars. Or the sprint cars in the 7 p.m. SOF race.
I definitely see a bunch of race cars getting wadded up. These guys are very close together. Now, these cars are much more nimble, so you are able to just flick the wheel away and avoid the wreck. It's just a matter of these guys are so close to where the wreck is going to be. I don't know if you're going to be able to flick the wheel away fast enough.
Well, it's a great point. The other one that comes into play is netcode. The iRacing update today did weaken these cars even further than they did a couple of weeks ago when the season debuted. I don't know how much weaker they can try to make them, but eventually you hit a point where netcode starts to get involved because the collision physics, you have to change that a little bit. And these cars were already problematic for netcode even before this season's changes.
Yeah, these things were almost as bad as the Silver Crowns when it came to netcode. It has gotten a lot better in the last 2-3 years. These cars have been where you can race them fairly close, but you still have to take into account people's internet connections.
Yeah, 90210 checking in saying, I like your optimism, but they're trying to prove you wrong. We're already 10 minutes in, 39 minutes, 37 seconds remaining here. And everybody, with the exception of Jason Owens and Alex Teeter, are in this main pack. Ben Carswell also about 37 seconds back. He's going to be the lap car they catch. But if we get the incident or the yellow flag, Ben's not even going to need the wave around. He's just going to get to come all the way around the racetrack and pack up at the tail end of the field.
Yeah, so his strategy might not have been the worst idea, especially with how close all these cars are right now. They could take out 15, 16 race cars, and he gets right up there back to the front row.
Please don't say that. 35 minutes of 4 race cars around here would be absolutely mind-numbingly dull.
Yeah, but then I can just draw phalluses on the screen.
You'll be playing Hangman with the viewers.
Yes.
Who's going to win this drag race to the line? It was Jason Miller that time. Shire comes right back past. Miller led, and before they get to the end of the pit lane, he's back to 4th, and there's almost 6 wide in turn 1.
All right, can we petition USAC to bring these cars to Pocono?
I don't think Dan Anderson would trust them to do that. Hell, the IndyCar drivers don't have the balls to run this place anymore.
Well, yeah, but they're going 100 miles an hour slower than the IndyCar guys.
I think the IndyCar
I would pay
guys should
full
be here.
IndyCar rate to see this.
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, anything that is not crazy horsepower and a fair amount of downforce would be incredible to watch on the oval at Pocono.
Well, not solo. You'd have to get a bunch of them like this.
Well, yes, thank you. John Wynn with the Spec Corvette series, if you're watching, please.
Now that Auto Club's closing down, you should have a race on the East Coast. Bring them down to Pocono.
Well, there is an East region. There's a Northeast region, a Mid-Atlantic region, Southeast region, or Florida region, whatever. There's Spec Corvettes all over the country. Jason Miller led 2 laps ago. He is now in the 10th position. Now, Patrick, I start to wonder, when could fuel consumption become an issue here? They should be able to get near-ish to halfway. But the way these things normally run, if you go green, it's a full tank plus a splash. We're not that far from possibly seeing green flag pit stops. Now, they're not exactly difficult here, but it's still green flag pit stops.
I think the biggest thing here is going to be pit with a pack of cars. Just like you see in the stock car races at the plate tracks, that's exactly what we have here. So most of the field is in a Discord call together. So I think it's going to be all of those guys pitting together, and then everyone who's not in that call pitting together. That's what I think is going to happen, but it's going to be very hard to coordinate.
The comment coming in, how about Josh Williams' 1-week vacation? I love it. The only thing better than him getting a week off is his response to it, saying, I'm proud of what I did. I get why NASCAR did what they did. I don't have a problem with that. And I got a badass road course ringer in Alex LeBay coming in to drive the car this weekend. Everybody wins in this thing.
Yeah, and he's going to sell a hell of a lot of T-shirts out of it. So for that small team, they're getting more money from that than they would have for running the full season.
That is correct. Actually, we are going to share a link to that tweet. Oh, here we go, actually. We are going to share the link in both comment sections to the Josh Williams t-shirt, because not only is it a great t-shirt design, but all of the proceeds are going to children's charities. The Park It Josh Williams t-shirt.
So nobody loses here.
That's correct. And if you'll notice, NASCAR did not announce a fine. So the whole thing of what are they going to do, fine me? I can't pay it anyway. He doesn't have a fine.
Well, Denny Hamlin was going to pay it regardless. That's probably why they didn't fine him, because Denny Hamlin was just going to pay it.
Yeah, most of the teams have that in the drivers' contracts anyway, unless it's something really egregious. The team just pays the fine. That's part of the sponsor budget for the year.
I wonder how big Kyle Busch's sponsor budget for that is.
bunch. Kylo Ciacelli back to the race lead. In fact, let's show you the race summary. 8 different leaders, 13 lead changes in the first 15 minutes of this race. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Zach Nurenberger. Over 162 miles an hour lap average.
Which I just want to say, 162 miles an hour average around here in a vehicle with less horsepower than most SUVs on the road is pretty impressive.
Yeah, this is just wild what we're watching. This is actually might be more fun than watching a plate race, only because you're not going to be as inclined to stupidity as you would be at a plate track.
Yeah, the plate tracks with stock cars, you have the advantage of fenders. You can give someone no room, and you can bump them a little bit, and usually everything's going to be all good 5 out of 10 times. These things, there's no room for error, so you really have to think about a stupid move before you do it.
Yeah, these guys are really taking care of each other at this point, and when we get to the end of this thing, and that's sort of what you talked about earlier, Patrick, when we were discussing the possibility of the big one. The issue isn't now. The issue is when you're down to 4 or 5 minutes left to go and you know that a caution flag ends it and locks you into where you are. There is no green, white checker, no overtime. If you're 12 with 3 minutes left and the yellow comes out, your race is over.
Yeah, once you get down to that point, it's go time. Nobody gives any more room. It's, I want to get up as high as possible and win it or wreck it. Checkers or wreckers, baby.
Now the drivers, we got one coming down pit lane. That's going to be Dave Sparks, the first of our drivers to hit pit lane here.
I don't know if he hit pit lane intentionally, though. That almost looked like he was forced down there.
Well, let's see. We're following him on the second set of cameras, and yeah, he hits the box.
Well, I mean, if you're going to sit down there at pit road speed, you might as well hit the box.
Yeah, 5.5 seconds, the time of the stop for Dave Sparks. I think this is not necessarily the worst call. Stop a lap or two early. If there's a problem and the yellow comes out, you've got the benefit of everybody's coming down pit road, and you don't have to.
You're going to be the leader. And you're not going to go a lap down when the green flag stops here. You see, he's in and out of the pits, and they were barely into turn number 3.
Oh, here we go. First set of stops is coming up, and it's going to be led by Kylo Ciacelli. Let's bring up the second box here, and we'll bring up Wes Shire as well.
Oh, back here, who's that? He
That's
looks like he has a penalty speeding. Nurenberger seems like he's got a penalty, and that's going to hurt his race.
Either a penalty or damage repair.
If he had damage to repair, he wouldn't be staying with that pack for as long as he did.
That's a great point. Could be a penalty. Quick draw on the telestrator there, by the way, bud.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to flip the boxes around, so you'll be able to follow Wes Shire, Carter Lundy, Brian Lamarge, Joe Varvel, everybody else coming down pit lane this time, except for the AJ Camargo. Vic Aldrich also staying out on the racetrack.
You can see Nurenberger only getting out of the pits now versus everyone else coming in. So he almost won a lap down there, so he's still going to be on the lead lap. But
that was a speeding penalty, 45.47 seconds, the time of the stop for Zach Nurenberger. 40 seconds, you lost almost a full lap. Now everybody else is coming back out onto the racetrack.
And who's that in the lead? That's going to be none other than Kylo Ciacelli, taking the effective lead of the race. There's still a couple cars that looks like that have not pit.
That is correct. We'll pick up Vic Aldrich.
Those would be the
here.
TWR guys.
Yes, the TWR crew is on pit lane here. We'll see how the overcut plays out.
Judging by how well Kylo benefited, I don't think it's going to play out very well.
I tend to not think so because your top three are already, well, passing pit lane. As Watson, Aldrich, and Camargo are heading back onto the racetrack. But these guys are going to slot in an absolutely perfect spot where they're going to kind of split the difference of the two packs, and it's going to help bring everybody together because right now, there you go. You see the three Team Watson racing cars just ahead of that second pack.
Yeah, so these three right here really benefited from that, but this larger pack is going to be moving just a touch faster than them, and with 27 minutes to go, as long as we keep it green, they're going to catch him. And if we get a yellow, it's going to bunch them all back up anyway.
Yeah, actually, this one's interesting here. Let's bring up our race leaders here. We'll flip the boxes back around for you. Leaders are in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. The rest of the pack is on the upper left. Now you can see everybody is trying to stay tucked in. The three leaders, they want to settle this among themselves. Let everybody else get to racing, but it is so hard to stay tucked in like that.
Yeah, you can see Ciacelli and Lundy really just bump drafting on each other down there. Wes Shire says, I want no part of this. I'll give you guys all the room you need. You guys can wreck each other.
Possible issue on the racetrack for Jason Owens. He was running in the 18th position.
Oh, Carter Lundy going to jump to the back of that train at the front.
Yeah.
Wes Shire going to slot in second.
Almost like the bump draft was a little bit too big down the straightaway. We'll pick up the race leaders here. But that bump down the straightaway into turn 3 really looked like it shoved Lundy up the racetrack. I don't know why you necessarily make that move, though, if you're Kylo Ciacelli, because he's not going to lose that much ground.
Yeah, I wonder if that's almost like what you and me were experiencing when we took the NASCAR car tomorrow out to iRacing Superspeedway, where it was flat out by itself, but you got too large of a bump going into either of the turns, and you were going too fast to make the corner, and you kind of had to check up just a touch and bring her back down to that low line.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting analogy because you're basically topped out. That was part of the issue, was you were topped out at speed until you got the shove. Now these guys 3 wide down the front stretch. That's not what they want to do if they want to try to open this gap up. It's currently sitting at about 2.2 seconds, but that gap is closing as the second pack of cars is really packed up neatly. We'll get you those guys up in the big box. They're playing nice while the leaders are kind of ducking out and passing each other and doing the thing. The gap's closing. In fact, almost down to an even 2 seconds at this point from 2 1/4 just a lap ago.
Yeah, you can see Mike Barry aggressively pushing J.W. Miller down the Long Pond straight. Not able to get to him going into turn 3, but down the main straightaway, I can definitely see these two bumping a little bit. Just everything they can to bring this rearward pack closer to the front 3.
It's interesting. I think almost what we're seeing here, Patrick, is kind of an attempt at a 3-car swap draft out of Ciacelli, Shire, and Lundy. The problem is it's just not working.
Yeah, the best thing they can do is just stay in a line to the end of this race. Bring it down to a minute or 2 to go, and then boys have at it. But for right now, you really just got to stay in line and try and fend off this rear pack. Just keep the gap between you guys large.
Well, and here's the other issue. Nobody got to halfway before they had to make their first pit stop. So either the pace is going to have to back down significantly, which it's not, or we're going to be looking at a splash and dash very, very late in this race. Potentially even this second pack of cars could try to make the fuel last the rest of the way.
I don't think they'll be able to. I think they pitted way too early to make it the rest of the way. Unless we do get a caution, but my biggest question is, are these guys going to need tires? Because if they don't need tires, then it's going to come down to who has the math figured out for how little fuel to put in the car. But if they are going to need tires, then it doesn't really matter because the tires are going to take longer than the fuel fill anyway.
I can't imagine a situation where tires are going to matter here.
I can definitely see where having tires will help, especially coming down to the white flag going through turn 3. That's one that I definitely think you're going to want tires to be able to hold the line either on the bottom defending or be able to shove the car wide real quick and make that final move with confidence.
Carter Lundy having to look up the inside of the racetrack. He's alongside Wes Shire back to the 3rd position. He tucks back in line. Trying to see if there's anybody that's going slow enough to try to sip fuel, and the numbers just aren't there. Slowest lap last time was Zach Nurenberger at a 57.3, but he's running by himself, so that's about what you would expect him to run. Of the cars that are in the draft, Brian Lamarge at a 57.2.
Nurenberger running that slow by himself is burning just as much fuel as Ciacelli running up there in the front. So he's not really saving doing that.
What I love about this is you would think there's strategy involved. When do you come down? Do you short pit the final stop? Do you go as far as you can? There really is no strategy, because if you pit any time other than the last possible moment, if the caution doesn't come out, your race is over. If the caution does come out, your race is over. So this literally is everybody has to push as hard as they possibly can.
Well, no, if you pit early and the caution comes out, if you're out of the pits, you're still on the lead lap. You're not going a lap down here. And then you're kind of in the good there because everyone else is going to come down and pit under the caution.
Correct. What I'm saying is if you get that, if the caution comes with 2 or 3 minutes to go, the race is over.
Oh, yeah. Then you're screwed.
Either way, you're kind of out of luck. You just have to make it last. What's interesting now, the gap is down to about 0.6 of a second. So this second pack has absolutely come into draft range of the top 3. Mike Barry doing a nice job leading that pack.
This gap is effectively closed up, and this is now a 15-car fight for the lead again.
Yeah, it looks like Stephen C. Thompson is going to be the last car in the train. He currently runs in the 11th position. It's 4 seconds back to Mike Long in 12th. He has Simon Fell, Brian Lamarge, and Jason Paydu. That group being led by Mike Long is sitting at about 56.7 for the lap times. Right about what the race leaders are running. It's actually a tick faster than what most of the leaders are running. So it's now game on here at the front of the field because that second pack is going to catch up the more these guys battle at the front. I think everybody may have learned their lesson from this series of pit stops, though, Patrick. You have to pit with the biggest group possible because those 3 Team Watson racing cars kind of got lucky in where they came back on the racetrack. If they had been just a couple of tenths slower, they're at the back end of, they're more with this, what is now the second pack of cars. You have to come with as many cars as possible.
Yeah, optimally for everyone, the whole field pits together, but that's never ever going to happen. The communication required and just the trust involved to get every single one of these cars onto this pit road together is ridiculous. So
it'd be awesome.
Optimally, you're going to get 2 packs, and unfortunately, some guys get left out and get in this second group of 4 cars we've got here.
So Ciacelli back to the race lead. Oh man, Westshire had to back out. Middle of turn 3 as Ciacelli really chopped down. And I would imagine for West behind the wheel, that makes you more than a little bit nervous because we've seen Kylo Ciacelli blinking during this race. You know the internet connection is not great there. So now it's his netcode going to get us.
Yeah, no, that is incredibly scary, and that's, I don't want to say why he's leading right now, but, I mean, Carter Lundy, he's got nothing to lose. He's, what, 16? He thinks he's invincible, so he's going to run right next to him, but everyone else in this field has the experience to know a blinking car usually means death.
Jason Owens on pit lane, 5.65 seconds the time of the stop, but he's already 10 laps behind our race leaders. Now you can see the clock has changed to say 19 laps to go. That's based on the number of laps that the software thinks they can get in based on the time remaining in the race, which is 16 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't think they're going to get 19 more in here. It's going to be close.
It's definitely going to be close, and I think if we stay green, absolutely, but the caution flag comes out, and I don't think so.
Yeah,
well, I know
so. Oh, another car coming down pit lane here this time. That will be Jason Owens back down onto the pit lane. Looks like his night may be done. 3 wide back there. 2 by 2 by 3 through turn 1. James Watson hanging out at the back of this pack just saying, I don't need this. I don't feel safe right now.
He actually has that on a button press, where if he presses some sort of button on his rig, it comes up in the text chat. I don't feel safe. And I'm willing to bet he's pressed that at least 5 times during the course of this race.
Oh man, Ciacelli working the outside of the racetrack. He's trying to get down on Mike Barry. It's not happening. Here comes Carter Lundy, 4 wide. How about 5 or 6 wide to turn 1?
And here comes Jason Owens coming out of the pits. He looks like he's going to join up with that second pack back there. Oh, Carter Lundy getting forced way high. He's going to run up right against those trees on the wall of the Long Pond Straight. Ciacelli again jumping out to make it 4 wide.
Yeah, this is Old Pocono. There is no catch fence down there, down that straightaway. If you get airborne,
yes, there is.
You're going out of the ballpark. No, there's just trees.
That's what I mean. They're all natural. It's an all-natural catch fence.
Yeah. My goodness, this has been intense to watch. Something tells me these guys are going to be whooped when it comes time for Fastmasters here in about 15 minutes or so. 14 minutes and 12 seconds to be exact.
Yeah,
I
and
think
we
we're
are
down
going
to-
to be running the Speedway. And don't tell anyone, but we're going to run it at night because I'm a jerk.
Wait, we're running Indianapolis Motor Speedway
Mm-hmm.
in the BMW GT cars
Yes,
at night at a track with no lights.
they have headlights.
Perfect.
I've done 0 testing, so I have no idea if they're going to be flat out there or not, but it's going to be a show, that's for sure.
Yeah. You can find that one on Open Hosted on iRacing. Look for Fastmasters. My goodness. Again, 3 wide to turn 1. Jason Miller back up contending at the front of the field. Give you another look here at the race summary. 9 different leaders, 24 lead changes. We've run 39 laps. Zach Nuremberg is still with the fastest lap of the race. Almost 261 kilometers per hour.
I know I said you were being optimistic before, but I'm starting to believe it. I'm kind of amazed there hasn't been a caution yet, and knocking on wood here, you can probably hear it, but...
Yeah, I think if you see a caution, you're going to see it very, very late in this race. There's still 12 and a half minutes left, basically. There's a lot of time to back out still. You don't have to be at the front. We haven't at least hit that window where you have to start thinking about making it.
I think these guys are too well behaved. We need to start offering a cash prize to anyone that starts a caution or starts an incident that wrecks more than 6 cars.
I have been hoping we would not get a caution here tonight because the pace laps will be about 40 minutes long.
Well, yes.
I mean, literally, a caution at this point with 11 and a half minutes left could be really close to ending the race.
It would bring us pretty much to a green-white checker. Maybe a green-white checker, but a green-white checker.
Yeah, there's not much left, and that's sort of where I like... Okay, keep your eye on James Watson here. He's starting to make the move a little bit. He's more keeping himself up behind Carter Lundy. Well, he was anyway. As that car starts to move forward, you'll know it's time to ratchet up the aggression a little bit. Just because they know they're out of time if the caution flag comes out.
Yeah, James Watson, all right, I don't want to say he's the most patient driver out there, but definitely uses his head. But once that switch flips and the adrenaline starts flowing, he might be the most aggressive driver I know on iRacing. Not maliciously aggressive, but definitely there's a gap there. I'm going.
Oh, here we
for
go.
it, Brett.
Pit stops
late
underway.
race pit stops.
Final set of pit stops with 10 minutes left to go.
Ciacelli won big on the last set of pit stops. Will he do it again here? And you see a couple cars here driving through a ton of pit stalls. I don't know if they've updated the rulebook for this series, but I remember in the original rulebook, you can only drive through 3 pit stalls or you would get a post-race penalty after review.
I would think
I'm not calling anyone out.
I was going to say, I would think you would have to get, kind of, for lack of a better term, protesting for that to happen. But Kyle Ciacelli leads the train off a pit lane, and every one of those guys was over 5 seconds in the box. Ciacelli 5 seconds, Mike Barry 5 seconds, 5.5 for Dave Sparks, as the second pack of cars now makes their way onto pit lane.
Carter Lundy braking a little too much. I saw him really have to step on the binders for that yellow cone. I wonder if there's going to be a speeding penalty involved, or he's just going to lose this race off pit road because he had to hit the brakes another time.
Westshire in his box. He is down and away, 5.08 seconds. Kylo Ciacelli and Mike Barry shove drafting down the front straightaway.
Oh, these guys are going to get out right side by side. Ciacelli's going to try and run away with it, but Shire and Lundy are still within drafting range.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's going to happen here because the big gap that you see there is because Westshire, Carter Lundy, those guys were not up to speed yet. Lundy is going to have to get down in front as now James Watson and crew on pit lane. We'll see if any penalties come from these guys. Ben Carswell down and away, 4.6 seconds, the time of the stop for Carswell. Stephen C. Thompson's out, 4.5 seconds. James Watson, 4.5.
You could see just how well James Watson gets out of the box. Him and that car in front of him, I can't really see who exactly that was, but James just got out of the box so much more quickly, and they both left at the same time.
So now,
James, for
multiple packs developing here. 5 cars at the front. Jason Miller, Kylo Ciacelli, Carter Lundy, Westshire, Mike Barry. The second group of cars has James Watson, AJ Camargo, and Stephen C. Thompson.
JW stepping out of the throttle a little bit, letting Ciacelli get out to a little bit of lead, making him a bit of a sitting duck out there.
Hold up, caution is out. Yellow flag on the racetrack, and it may have been for Jason Owens. Let's see. Well, is this not interesting? Let's bring up the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here and take a look as we run under caution. This is Jason Owens down the front straightaway. Going full Josh Williams, parking it on the front stretch, but it brings out the caution flag.
That almost looks either like, A, his pedals disconnected, and when they disconnect, maybe a small animal that he lets live in the house unplug the pedals. And they default to a brakes on state, maybe to save the rest of the field. Either that, or maybe he had a Denny Hamlin situation where his kid shut the TV off, and in order to avoid wrecking the whole field, just decided, I'm going to slam the brakes, park the car, bring the caution out, instead of, at worst, wrecking a bunch of race cars. So, hopefully, actually, I don't even want to say hopefully. I know it was nothing malicious. This is Jason Owens series, and he wasn't going to win the race multiple laps down, so no reason to affect the outcome. Whatever it was nothing malicious.
Now, we're down to 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. We'll see what the first lap behind the iRacing safety car looks like.
Carter Lundy, I love how he does that. Everyone just came down the pit lane, and he still tries to fake out the field like it's going to work.
Mike Barry is checking in from the in-car. Actions detrimental to speedway racing. I find this interesting. Zach Nurenberger on pit lane, so is Vic Aldridge. 7 1/4 seconds for Aldridge. He took tires. Same for Zach Nurenberger.
I mean, if you're already all the way in the back, you might as well take the tires. Just have the fresh ones on the car, and you'll be able to make even gutsier moves. Is it gonna work? I don't know, but if you were in 17th already and you took tires and you're still in 17th,
yep,
I don't see it as a bad idea.
No, I think it's a great idea. Jason Owens is checking in. Sorry for the caution. Can't believe it went yellow for that and not when I got taken out on lap 2. I can't afford to pay the fine anyways. So now the question becomes, are we going to get back to green flag racing?
Yeah, it looks like everyone's lining up against the outside wall.
Yes, we are.
Pace car looks like it's getting ready to come back in, and we should see Barney waving a green flag.
3 minutes, 45 seconds to go. Green flag back in the air. This is going to be absolutely wild for these last couple of laps. Top 4, top 5, all in line. They start to double out. That means everybody else is back in play. Oh, and the caution's back out again. Caution on the racetrack. And I don't see a reason for it. Possibly trouble for Ben Carswell. Let's take a look and see. See if we can see what happened here, but it looks like, oh yeah, wow. That was, this was huge. The pile into turn 2. 4,
Yeah,
5 wide doesn't work.
Ooh.
5 wide was not going to work there.
Yeah. I don't think 2 wide usually works through the tunnel turn. In these cars, 2 wide will work. In literally anything else, I don't think it does.
I do not believe so. Now the other question becomes, do we even get back under green flag racing conditions?
How many minutes are left?
We are down to 45 seconds, so no, we will not go back to green flag racing.
Well, lights are out on the pace car. We have seen this before in the TNT series, where the pace car is going to pull in, and these guys are literally going to have a drag race to the finish. Now, I don't know if Carter knows about this rule, but if Kylo runs as soon as the pace car goes, Carter can try and get the jump on him and try and drag race him to the line as long as he passes him around the outside. If Kylo knows the rule and he stays along that outside wall, he wins this race, but this could be an interesting one. Or if they have not taken the white flag yet, there could still be 1 lap to go. We don't know. We have the same information all of you do.
Yeah, clock has expired, and there you go. You just saw it change over, final lap. However, if the pace car pulls in, we could see a green flag.
Yeah, we are either going to see the checkered flag wave and just a drag race to the finish, and you might see some cars get caught out and unaware of what's going to happen.
I don't think you're going to see Carter Lundy do anything here. Remember, we've seen this
even
before.
further
He's
back
the
in the pack.
gentleman.
Or you could see one to go.
Does
Where
Jason
we have just
Miller?
one lap gap.
Does Jason Miller just come screaming past Carter Lundy? The pace car pulls in. They're going to pack up. We'll see a very quick green flag checkered in the air. And Kylo Ciacelli picks up the win at Pocono. Carter Lundy, Jason Miller will round out your podium.
So everyone respectful. Nobody tries to gets the jump this time and make some last lap moves or last straightaway moves.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's it. That's how this one's going to end. They're still racing here, but it's definitely, I am seeing checkered flags on everybody's name. And no positions are changing here either. So, Mike Barry, you're working hard here, bud, but going to be all for naught.
Kylo's over here saying, why bang up the race car? It's got to look good in the victory lane shots.
That is correct. So everybody that could finish has finished. Who is that with the floppy wheel? That's Carter Lundy doing donuts with the whole front end missing.
How did that happen? Yeah, you could see that. Oh, he spun it around, but you can see that wheel's not really connected.
Yeah, let's take a look here. See
right there. It's not supposed to be flopped over like that.
No, that's correct. Okay, here you go. We can give you a Hot Shoe Raceware instant replay. Show you what happened here. This is on the after the cool down lap.
Oh yeah,
buries Mike
Barry slammed on the brakes, and Carter Lundy, not from New York, unable to react quickly in that scenario, pounding it into the wall. And you could see the whole front end of that car is missing.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to get some fireworks late in this race. Let's take a look at the race results here. And this is sort of skewed a little bit because we are under caution. Actually, hold on a second. Hold up. Carter Lundy's now driving his way through the infield.
So you can see here is a bunch of spectators where they park their cars, and Carter Lundy trying to join the spectators.
Yeah, he's hanging out with the campers out there in turn number 1. Let's go back to our race results. Kylo Ciacelli, Carter Lundy, Jason Miller, Wes Shire, and Mike Barry, your top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Stephen C. Thompson, James Watson, Nieje Camargo, Mike Long, and Jason Paydu. Back through the 19th position, Vic Aldrich and Zach Nurnberger, the final cars to finish on the lead lap. Simon Feld, Joe Varvel, Ben Carswell, and Brian Labarge, all 2 laps down. Dave Sparks finishing 3 laps down. Jason Owens, 18th, 17 laps in arrears. And Alex Teeter going out very early in this race, finishing 47 laps behind. Let's take a look. Let's see. We're going to want to talk to Kylo Ciacelli, I believe, first. Let's bring him up into the booth here and chat with our race winner, Kylo Ciacelli. An interesting race, to say the least. It was absolute insanity everywhere, and then we got a couple of cautions that kind of took the wind out of the sails of everybody.
I don't know what you're talking about, insanity, Chris. I controlled that race from start to finish. I don't know what race you were watching. Just a really great machine I had today, thanks to Team Watson Race Setups and Limo's Boys Racing for the rocket ship of a PM18 they gave me today. Led lots of laps, out front a lot, and not that big of a deal for me, honestly. Everybody had the runs, but nobody could turn corners like I could, so pretty easy.
Yeah, you were running first, started third. The lowest you got was 13th, which that was the cycle of pit stops. But all in all, that 93 machine was at the front all night long. How do you balance the I know I'm fast with I can't be in a position that's kind of ugly in terms of where the pack is running around you and all?
Yeah, the first cycle of pit stops, we had that breakaway of myself and Carter and Wes, and we held off for about half the run there before the pack caught up. So that really mellowed the race out a little bit. That stretched it out and took a little bit of sizzle off of the flame there. But then once the guys caught back up, it was back to it. You know, Barry constantly having runs on the outside, guys getting a really big run out of turn 3. It's impossible to keep the lead out of turn 3 when you're up front just from the momentum loss and the guys getting a run behind you. And we managed to pull it out in the end there, just had the car in the right spot at the right time.
Well, congratulations on the win. This one's going to be big from the points perspective as well. Talk us through a little bit of that, because the more you do these, you pick up these big wins, you're going to be contending for a championship here, even with, I believe, one fewer race than everybody else has run to this point. Let me check that. But nope, same number of races, but 4th win on the season. You cut a bunch out of West Shire's lead.
Yeah, I think the stats don't lie. I think I start and parked a couple of races earlier on in the season too. Didn't get any points, but yeah, definitely looking at championship wise, this is a huge night, and I know we have the road courses coming up, and that'll definitely be where I need to make the most of it, because I know I'm quick on the road courses compared to these guys, and we need to make the most out of it going forward to hopefully get that watch. Everybody's working for that watch.
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk about that one in just a minute here. But first, before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous, because that was a very, very big win for you here tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thanks to NRN and you guys for doing the broadcast. As always, Limo Boys Racing, Team Watson Race, Setups, DeChaco Farms, Petro Canada, the Cannabis Retail Store, and Pit Viper on the car. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, bud. You too. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for a minute. Let's now go find Carter Lundy. That car was really good tonight. Talk us through the whole process of things, because I don't know that you've run many pack races in open wheel cars like this, where you could be kind of anywhere on the racetrack and still be fast.
Yeah, I think if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd do it from my bed. You don't really need much much focus or anything. You just kind of sit there for a little while and just run in your own lane. Don't get involved in anything. And I mean, yeah, not too much excitement. I mean, I enjoy driving around with the pack, but it was a shame we didn't get to get some racing laps in at the end there.
Yeah, we were looking forward to seeing what was going to come at the end of this race, but we still went 40-plus minutes and 2 sets of green flag pit stops. There's a lot. You don't ever see that on the iRacing platform. It speaks to how good the field is and how just the depth of everything. This was a really stout field we had here tonight.
Yeah, the field was really respectful throughout most of the race, I guess, until the end there. And yeah, through the pit stop phases, through the first one, me, Wes, and Kylo were running on our own for a little bit. We had good pit stops, and then the pack caught up, and then yeah, at the end, the cautions just sort of killed it. But the pack was being super respectful. You could trust everyone around you until that 5 wide incident at the end there. That was a little bit chaotic.
Yes, the 5 wide, and then your extracurricular activities post-race. You and Mike Barry absolutely junked the race cars, and then you went exploring around the Great Pocono Raceway area up there through the infield. Always nice to see some guys having fun with this.
Yeah, I thought I'd give the road course a go with 3 wheels.
We're going to run trikes at Pocono next week on the TNT Shock Series. All right, Carter, well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us. And before we let you go, do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yep, as usual, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. I'll be watching that one back in a little bit. It's always very exciting to watch. Maybe a little bit less today, just 50 minutes of the same thing. But thanks to Team Watson Racing for the setups, Nagisa Yoshikawa making them. They're putting me up at the front, so thank you to them for that, and have a good night.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And let's take a look at Jason Miller, another guy who had an absolutely fantastic night tonight in the number 3 entry. Man, you ran first, started up front, had a great run. That 3 car was just good, man.
Yeah, just used the Indy setup from when we ran in the official series a while ago. Didn't really change a whole lot, so just kind of got lucky. Just set the wings as slow as they go and put the pedal down.
How you're a guy that we're seeing develop into a talent that we're seeing more and more towards the front of the field, to the point even that Patrick was calling you J.W. Miller for half the night. But
shoot.
Yeah, he's a guy that's quick.
I'm so used to J.W. Miller. My apologies, man.
He's quick. You're getting really quick in this series as well. It's got to be fun hanging out up here at the pointy end of the show here.
Yeah, definitely different from last season for me. Been trying to learn a lot from the guys. Tonight, I pretty much just shadowed Wes around the track. When he pit, I pit. I figured if I can keep up with him, I'll have a pretty good chance at being toward the front at the end. Luck worked out with the cautions.
Yeah, well, it seemed like it worked out for almost everybody here. Unfortunately, we got that one with just a couple of minutes left that kind of took the wind out of the sails. But congratulations on the podium finish here tonight. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, well, thanks to you guys for broadcasting the race. Thanks to Wes and Jason and everybody. The series that runs the league. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of clean racing going on. Really enjoyed every week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And, man, I'll tell you what, Patrick, not the finish we necessarily thought we were going to see for this one, finishing under the yellow flag. But all in all, we got about 42 minutes of absolutely incredible racing out of these guys here tonight.
Oh, yeah, that was a fantastic race. I don't think I've ever seen cars go 6-7 wide and survive here at Pocono. I'm really excited. I'm going to go down the Pocono Speedway maybe first thing tomorrow morning and petition for a Miata Oval Series here because I think it'll produce very similar results and it's going to be freaking fantastic.
Yeah, we're back here in 2 weeks with the TNT Shock Series coming up on April 4th. The entire month of April, in fact, we will be running at... Oh, no, I guess it won't be road courses. Homestead Roval A coming up on April 4th. I'm not sure which one that is. Which one of the goofy Homestead Roval layouts that is, but it's going to be good. These cars are fun when they're up on the banking, and then they're going to do the twisty bits down in the infield. Following that, we head off April 18th to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Most Sport May 2nd. Gateway May 16th, and we close out this season here May 23rd at Indianapolis Raceway Park, getting you ready for the Memorial Day weekend. I can't believe we're already talking about that, but time for us to get the heck on out of here. We've got TNT Fastmasters. Fastmasters coming up. We got to go. All right, for Patrick Byrne and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.